Day of the Dead, Mexico. Two of the most important celebrations in Mexico are held in November, according to the Catholic calendar. The first day is dedicated to the All Saints, and day 2 is the All Souls Day. Throughout these 2 days, rituals are performed to worship the ancestors. According to popular belief, the gates of heaven open at midnight on the 31st of October. The 1st of November is then dedicated to the little dead ones, that's to say, to those who died as children, as they arrive first from heaven. The adults come later on the second day. All through the year, the plans are made for this day, and believing that the dead would be insulted by sadness, lamentation, and grief, beautifully decorated altars are built. Cemeteries are filled with candles, decorated with flowers, confetti, sugar, skulls, and there is also a smell of copal incense in the air. Day of the Dead is a lively celebration. When the dead reach their relatives on earth, toys are offered to the dead children, while cigarettes and bottles or shots of mezcal and tequila are offered to the dead adults. The dead's favorite food and drink are offered as they come back to live again with their still living relatives, to drink their favorite drinks and to eat their favorite food. Like the typical dead bread, pumpkin blemish, or whatever culinary dish that the deceased liked. The celebration of the Day of the Dead, as it's popularly known by, is practiced all around Mexico, involving both the indigenous communities and mestizo groups. Whether urban or rural, many spend up to 2 months' income to honor the dead. The celebration of All Saints and All Souls has been combined with the commemoration of the Day of the Dead that the Native Americans have been celebrating since pre-Hispanic times. Among the ancient Nahua people, after death the soul travels to another place to carry on living in the afterlife, transcending life to be deified in the space inhabited by the gods. Ancient Mexicans, Aztecs, Mixtecs, Zapotecs, Tlaxcaltecas, Totonacs, and other tribes of the country moved the veneration of their dead to the Christian calendar. Before the arrival of the Spaniards, it was celebrated in August, and it coincided with the end of the agricultural cycle of corn, pumpkin, peas, and beans. The All Souls in the Western tradition was and is still today an act of mourning and prayer for the dead to rest in peace. With the indigenous tradition, it's almost become a party, with a carnival atmosphere, a day when the living and the dead live together again. In Mexico, throughout these days, people dress in many different, often vibrant colors to worship the dead. Yellows of the marigold flower, whites from the wallflower, red from the lion's paw, not just the typical black of English funerals. It's a reflection of the syncretism of the two cultures, indigenous Aztec and rituals married together with Catholicism, recognizing death as a natural part of human experience, a continuum of birth, childhood, and adulthood, a natural cycle of life and death.